Hello, students. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Super Grads. So, here we are in the XAT crash course. I hope you've been doing fine. I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible. You can see the board. All's fine. Give me a quick thumbs up. Yeah. चलो ठीक है भाई स्टार्ट करते हैं. So, what do we have today? In the VA1, we specifically would be targeting vocabulary based questions in XAT. So, what has been coming year after year? What exactly and precisely is going to be the questions that we will take up, the topics that we will take up? So, in the ambit of vocabulary, there's only one question type that has been recurring. Okay, and that too for the last around somewhere around, I would say 6 to 7 years, right from the year 2018 up till 2024. I have cherry picked all the questions based on vocabulary. And there is one common thing. There's only one question type that has been coming, and that is fillers or fill in the blanks. Sentence completion, you can say that, okay? And yes, there are multiple blanks. And the questions, however, are not all that easy. So tricky to hai bhai sahab, okay? It is that में कुछ भी आसान तो नहीं होता. But you know, if you have the basics of fillers, if you understand fill in the blanks, if you understand the comprehension, like if you have good comprehension skills, and if your vocabulary is good, you can definitely crack these questions. I would say these are going to be those questions that you must necessarily pick and attempt. Trust me. But it all depends on the level of vocabulary that you have. So if you've been preparing for different examinations, I'm sure you prepared for CAT, then for sure you have good comprehension skills and robust vocabulary. And this is what is going to take us ahead in this section, right? Hey Mannat, how are you doing? I'm so glad to see you. I can't see you, but to hear from you. Okay, great. Long time, buddy. All right. So we are taking up fillers and we will pick up questions from latest and we will move towards the previous years, right? So I start without any ado. I am not going to tell you the basics of fill in the blanks. I think that's very rudimentary and you people are already aware of that. But don't you worry, even if you're not aware of it, trust me, during my explanation, everything will be crystal clear to you, right? So without any further ado, let's move towards the first question. I have taken all the PYQs, so I've made your task really easy. Fine, this is all PYQs. And I have some extra questions also for you. That is at the end, right? Let's see how far we are able to reach. So coming to this first question, it's from ZAP 2024. Let's attempt this question, class. I'll give you somewhere around 1 minute per question, maybe a few seconds more, right? Let's try to crack it in that much time. चलिए अटेम्प्ट कीजिए. Choices are close, but thoda sa common sense and an awareness of the approach to these questions, you can definitely crack this one. Huh. Done? Okay, so I'm waiting for your answers eagerly. Come on, shoot your answers quick. This is so easy. Hmm. Fine. So अब तक तो हो जाना चाहिए था. I've given you enough time. So let's first of all, with a very calm mind, let's not directly look at the options first. The first step is with a very calm mind, you have to read the sentence and you have to understand and you have to slightly envisage what is the requirement of each blank. Are there any keywords? Are there any conjunctions? If there are clauses, what is the relationship between the clauses? What kind of a word am I looking for? Right? Such a brief thinking, a pre processing will help you a lot. And then when you come to the options directly, some options will be eliminated just because of a word or two here, which is strikingly inappropriate. However, you keep on eliminating options and finally it will boil down to two options. And then finally you'll have to plug in both the options to see which one makes more sense. As simple as that, right? So let's have a look at this. As dash evolved and eventually moved to cities, close proximity dash how we viewed and assessed each dash. Okay. So when you say as dash evolved and eventually moved to city, can we say people? Yeah, we can, though this does not look like a perfect word. People looks very generic. However, it's okay. There's nothing that we outrightly reject it. As lives evolved, life cannot move to cities. Life cannot move to city, right? A life would not. So I would say this does not make much sense. As civilization evolved would make sense. But what about this? Would civilization move to cities or the people of the civilization? So this looks a little bizarre, slightly abrupt. As generations evolved and eventually moved to cities. Generation, yes. It's about an era. It's about people. And when they settle down, when they evolved and they moved to cities. Close proximity changed how we viewed and assessed each other. This makes good sense. I'll put a small tick here. As culture evolved and moved to cities, culture cannot move to cities. This is nonsensical, right? Let's have a look at option A. Close proximity helped how we viewed and assessed each nation. Nation. Proximity with the nation. Even when you were in the rural areas, you were in the nation. So nation does not make sense in the last blank. So this is also out. Let's have a look again at C also. Let's reckon it correctly. As civilization evolved and eventually moved to cities. See, technically, cities are more civilized. So, how would you say that civilization is evolving and moving to cities? That is illogical. Close proximity enhanced how we viewed and assessed each situation. Somehow, it's not everything falling in place, right? Of course, D delta makes maximum sense, and so it's going to be your answer. Yes? Did you get it right, people? Wonderful. See, your participation is all I want here. Let's be active viewers, right? Keep on sharing your responses and having a look at the chat box, right? Every time that I flash a question, you have to solve it and share your answer with me in the chat box, right? Let's do it. So 2024 का लेटेस्ट क्वेश्चन लेके आई हूँ आपके लिए. यार इतना तो बनता है, पार्टिसिपेट करो. आपका आंसर गलत भी हो जाएगा तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है यार. डोंट वरी, आई एम नॉट सिटिंग हियर एंड जजिंग यू, राइट? Over to the next one. This can be slightly confusing. All right. Yes, come on. Processing it. Think about the options. Carefully evaluate and weigh each and every option. Well, this particular question is really tricky and this is intriguing. Don't you worry, I will help you out with it, right? So, as I've already discussed, with a very calm mind, you're supposed to read the sentence and comprehend it. And you have to think what is the requirement of every blank. Now, you don't have to sit down deeply contemplating on that. We don't have that much time to waste. We have to make it fast, right? So, all I'm trying to say that if at all you see that there are some clauses, this is your sentences like this, and here I have used the word despite. So it is very, very obvious that these two clauses should be contradictory in nature. Fine. So I have taken up some vocabulary based sessions. They are available. I have taken filler based questions also in the past. They must be available on the channel, on our YT channel. If you don't know anything about fill in the blanks, you can check that out. A lot many tricks have been discussed with you. You will definitely find it very productive and fecund for your practice, right? So if we have words like but, though, although, in spite of, or any such contradictory conjunctions, conjunctions that highlight contrast, you would understand that, okay, fine. If there's a blank here, it would be probably opposite to the blank given there. So that sense is that much required. हर टाइप का कंजंक्शन, कुछ कंजंक्शंस ऐसे होते हैं जो सिर्फ आइडिया को एक्सटेंड कर रहे हैं, एंड मोर ओवर टू ऑल्सो, राइट, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम ये तो बहुत ही छोटा सा एस्पेक्ट है. इट्स अबाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग लॉजिकली, ग्रामेटिकली, सेमांटिकली. वर्ड सेंस होना बहुत जरूरी है. अब ये जो सेंटेंस है, दिस लुक्स वेरी बिजार. डैश लाइक अ फेक can be a sign of dash, can be, and clinging too tightly to what feels like one's authentic self can dash that growth. Oh my god. Now dash like a fake ही बच्चों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि fake, but यहाँ पे please try to understand the theme here. It says that this can be a sign of dash. So normally we feel being fake is a negative thing, right? Logically, it's a negative thing when you're faking it up, when you're not being yourself. But and clinging too tightly to what feels like one's authentic self can dash that growth. Which growth? This growth. When you are fake, that's also a growth in its own way. So yes, that fakeness is being used in a positive sense here. So if at all you feel that you are acting or you are feeling like a fake person, probably you are changing as per the environment, as per the situation. You're being a little more diplomatic. That's a growth. The sentence has itself said that this is a growth. So, can be a sign of this. Here we need a positive word. That's what you need to understand. So, we will rule out stupidity. That anyway does not make sense. And look at it, we have all positive words here for the second blank. Growth, progress, smartness, improvement, right? And the first one, feeling like a fake, could be. Acting like a fake could be. Operating is a little too technical and manual in nature. It sounds very mechanical, may not be the right word. Behaving like a fake could be. And if you cling too tightly to your authentic self, but if you feel that no, how can I feel this way? I have to be my genuine self, and I cannot change myself. I have to be very genuine, no affectation. So you could be dash that growth. So here we need a negative word, like something like stymie or impede or block or hinder, something like this. So hinder makes sense. Growth in the second blank and feeling in the first blank. I think A looks like a good option. Would you agree? समझ में आया क्यों A? A is the right answer, class. Enhance, we don't need any positive word here, right? Increase, support, they're all positive words, so they will be out. क्योंकि contrast है. What is the contrast here? Contrast is fakeness and genuineness. They are opposing things. Mumbai Indian, do you understand? Why is my answer A? I hope it is clear, right? तो जैसा मैंने आपसे बोला कि वाकई में काफी confusing होने वाला है कि you don't understand what you mean by this. The essence of the sentence is that you may feel that you're being a little fake, you have some kind of an affectation, or you have some kind of pretension. You're not being your genuine self. So when you feel that fakeness, this can have a positive side. This can be a sign of growth. You are maturing as an individual. You now understand where I have to project myself a particular way. And if you cling on to your genuineness or your authentic self, this can actually hinder or impede that growth. This is the meaning. Great. So let's move to the next one. Now, that 2024, there were two questions. Every year, we have been getting two questions on fill in the blanks, right? So, and there's no other vocabulary based question coming up. So, this is that 2023. Let's take this one up. Let's try to crack it in a minute or so. Yes. What do you think? Come on, shoot your answers and eagerly waiting for your responses. Let me feel that you're participating. Come on. Let it be wrong. It's okay. Even if it is wrong, no worries. I'm there to correct you. Okay. Reaching anywhere? चलो भाई डिस्कस करते हैं राइट ओके नाउ हियर they're talking about oil painting did to appearance what capital did to social dash. Okay, it reduced everything to the dash of objects. Okay, everything became dash because everything became a commodity. Now we are talking about capital. In fact, we're talking about the institution of capitalism, to be precise. All reality was mechanically dashed by its materiality. So, what can be the answer? Okay, Shalom, you think Shalom, right? Nice name. You think it is E? Let's have a look at it. So, oil painting did to appearance how it modified the appearance. In the same way, capital did to social dash. So, what can be the relation between capital, the means of finance, or the entire institution of capitalism on social what? Is it related to justice? I don't think so. I think justice is not very pertinent or relevant here because social justice का directly capitalism से कोई रिश्ता नहीं होना चाहिए, right? Social relation makes sense. Social setup could be. I won't outrightly reject it, though this does not appear as a very fine-tuned kind of a word, but still it's okay. Social relation, yes. Why? Because ultimately we are here talking about how there's a connection and how everything is being reduced to the material aspects, right? And capitalism and capital and money and everything is actually affecting the social order. This affects our society and the social relations, right? So relations is a possible option. Social reality, social construction. Okay, I would not directly eliminate these, but social reality does not make much sense to me. It's about the semantic choice, it's about the word sense. Social construction, again, slightly vague. Let's read further. It reduced everything to the dash of objects, level of objects. Everything became expensive. No, A is out. Everything became useless. No. We're talking about everything started becoming of material value. Everything became like a commodity. We were being very materialistic because of this capitalism. That is what they're trying to say. So everything became exchangeable. Okay. It reduced everything to the equality of objects. What would this mean? Equality of objects? It would simply mean that it reduced everything to the level of objects. Ultimately, all the objects were almost equal because they were objects, they were commodities. That's the meaning. And so, being commodities, they were exchangeable. All reality was mechanically measured by its materiality. Everything that was real had a material value. This is how it was being measured. Looks fine. I'll put a small tick here. Randomness, randomness of objects, no, does not make sense. Objects are not random. There is no sense of randomness involved here. Scalable is fine, but mechanically located by its material. It's not about locating. We don't have a sense of where something is there or not. Like it's not that. So located does not fit in. Minuteness, minuteness of objects. I like this. Everything became commercial. I like this evaluated, but minuteness is bizarre. For them, objects are not minute. For them, objects are of high value. They're trying to measure everything in totality in terms of its value as an object. So minuteness does not fit in that way, right? Your answer is going to be C. C is the right answer. I hope it is clear. I told you this is also tricky, so XAT fillers are certainly not easy, but then on and off you do find some really scoring ones out there, right? So अभी तक जितने भी 2018 से 2024 तक पिछले कुछ साल के पेपर्स आज हमारे पास में 7 साल के पेपर्स PYQs पे से मैंने क्वेश्चन निकाले हैं हमें साथ रह के इसको ट्राई करना है Stay with me till the end. Stay tuned. Keep trying. I'm sure you will crack it. That 2022 का क्वेश्चन है आपके सामने I think this is easy. Let's do this one. Yes, Anas. Very often. It happens that, there's this one word which is the basis of elimination. That may not happen necessarily, but very often. Because, see, as an examiner, you have to understand the examiner's psyche. That when they try to frame options, first of all, they have an answer in the mind, right? And then they try to frame options, then they try to frame very close choices. इजी पेपर बना देंगे तो सब में होगा अरे क्या मक्खन पेपर तो मुश्किल बनाते हैं तो फिर वो क्या करते हैं एक वर्ड ऐसा रख देंगे जो ऑड होगा बाकी 2-3 वर्ड्स आपको लगेगा कि ये भी हो सकता है ये भी हो सकता है ये भी हो सकता है तो बहुत केयरफुली हमें एलिमिनेशन करना होता है एंड एज आई हैव बीन टेलिंग यू दैट सिमेंटिक सेंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वर्ड सेंस कि ये वर्ड किसके साथ में जाएगा किसके साथ नहीं जाएगा राइट दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंट This is an easy one. Let's hit it. Done? I think you're through. Wonderful. Let's discuss. When I ask people to name 3 recently implemented technologies that most impact our world today, they usually propose the computers, the internet, and the laser. All 3 were unplanned. Surprising, right? Now these are so pervasive and they're so elementary to our existence that even imagining that these were unplanned sounds bizarre. But yes, that's what it says. All 3 were unplanned, dash and dash upon their discovery. and remained dash well after their initial use. Now let's have a look at it. I've already told you, I think, in my previous sessions, which I think the audience is fresh every time on YouTube, so it's very difficult to connect. But then I've told you that, when you have blanks like this, something like this, or you have blanks like this and that, very often we will have similar words. At least we will not have contradictory words. Because if there are contrasting words, then we must use the conjunction but or anything similar to that, right? So the idea here is all three were unplanned dash. So can we use astonishing? Unplanned, astonishing. Chalo theek hai, we accept astonishing aa gaya, something which is very shocking or surprising. And amazing. And they remained amazing well after their initial use. Then why are you mentioning this? I think we need some surprise element here. हमने जब लोगों से पूछा कि सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट रिसेंटली इम्प्लीमेंटेड टेक्नोलॉजीज कौन सी हैं, सबने बोला इंटरनेट है, कंप्यूटर है. बट आपको कुछ बताने लायक क्या है? व्हाट इज द पॉइंट दैट द स्पीकर इज ट्राइंग टू मेक? दैट ये अनप्लैन्ड थी, अनएक्सपेक्टेड थी, और इनकी शायद वैल्यू उतनी रियलाइज ही नहीं की गई आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग टाइम, टिल अ लॉन्ग टाइम. सो दैट वे, superb, superb, no. I think had it been superb, then there is no element. Then it's pretty obvious. Then why are you mentioning it even here like this, right? I think it should be unplanned के साथ में क्या बैठेगा? Unpredicted बहुत बढ़िया से बैठेगा. Unplanned, unpredicted, unappreciated upon their discovery and remained unappreciated well after their initial use. Till a point of time, they remain unappreciated. It's only after years that they have become so popular to the extent that we feel this is one of the greatest modern technology that was invented. Do you understand? For this, you'll have to identify the tone. Sometimes identifying the tone of the sentence is also very crucial. So from that perspective, E makes good sense, right? Fulfilling and unfulfilling, these are contradictory words. They cannot go together. Amazing and shocking cannot go simultaneously. How can you say it was shocking? And in fact, even when you say astonishing, what would be astonishing about it? Like, why would you call that it was, oh my God, it was so astonishing and it was so shocking? Astonishing and superb then cannot go together. Astonishing and amazing cannot go together, I would say. So, this sense you need to have that when you're talking about a paragraph, when you're writing a few sentences together, then there has to be unity in your thought. They all should point out to a central main idea, right? So अमेजिंग भी है और शॉकिंग भी है साइमल्टेनियसली, तो वो जमता नहीं है कुछ. दैट्स स्लाइटली इलॉजिकल, राइट? सो रिमेंबर दिस थिंग, ओके, एंड योर आंसर वुड बी ई. ओवर टू द नेक्स्ट 2022 का नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Yes, Anas. Anas has a valid point that unplanned I cannot digest because how is it that something like computer can be unplanned? So going back to the question, we didn't have to choose this. This was already given to us. But still, I believe that there's a common curiosity that a student has. Well, honestly speaking, research में कई बार ऐसा हो जाता है कि आप बनाने कुछ और चले थे और बन कुछ और गया. ऐसे बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स मैंने पढ़े हुए हैं कि कुछ ऐसे एक्सीडेंटल, इनफैक्ट इस बार कैट के पेपर में भी एक ऐसा पैसेज आया था जिसमें उन्होंने यही बताया था स्लॉट 2 में कि बहुत सारी एक्सीडेंटल डिस्कवरीज, एक्सीडेंटल इन्वेंशंस हैं. हम बनाने कुछ गए थे साइंटिस्ट वगैरह, बट कुछ स्लाइटली डिफरेंट बन गया, एंड दैट इन ड्यू कोर्स turned out to be a very major invention and it was hailed for centuries. So that happens in the field of science and technology. Let's do this one. Okay, so Shalom and Farhan got this one right. Very good. Well done. The previous question, you gave me the right answer. Done? Come on, I need your answer. Fifth, come on, shoot your answer. Come on, people. Such an amazing question. It's a doable question. करने लायक question है भाई. देखो यार, जैट से बहुत प्यारे प्यारे कॉलेजेस हैं, कुछ बहुत अमेजिंग कॉलेजेस हैं, right? And if you want to do MBA HR, then XLRI is called the mecca of HR studies, right? So I believe there's some amazing colleges. Even if you couldn't do much in CAT, this is your second opportunity, second, another major opportunity. Let's not go it wasted, right? Make sure that you put your best foot forward. So give it your best attempt. All right, so I believe that most of you, okay, Aditi, you think it is B? Let's have a look. The moment we no longer have a free press, anything can happen. What makes it dash for a totalitarian or any other dictatorship to rule is that dash are not informed. How can you have an opinion if you are not informed? So clearly, we understand the central idea that it is about the importance of free press. So they say that if you don't have a free press, if you don't know what is happening around, you will not have an opinion. And this is a bad thing. And here they're saying that for a totalitarian, for someone who wants to have an absolute power, or for a dictator, right? So what makes it dash for totalitarian or any other this to rule is that dash are not informed. So यहाँ पे क्या आ सकता है? फर्स्ट ब्लैंक में क्या आ सकता है? What makes it possible? बिल्कुल आ सकता है. That people are not informed. Looks good, right? जब लोग इन्फॉर्म नहीं होंगे तभी ये जो डिक्टेटर्स हैं और टायरेंट्स हैं वो अपनी ग्रिप बना पाएंगे. फाइन. What makes it absurd? Absurd means strange, awkward. This does not fit in. हम ये कह रहे हैं कि रिक्वायरमेंट है, if you want to be a dictator, you must control the press. Okay, तो ये नहीं हो सकता. What makes it unpleasant? No. What makes it unique? Not really. What makes it necessary? It works. It's necessary that your citizens are not informed. Works. That your senators are not informed. No. Is it just about the senators? Is it just about the Senate or the parliamentarians? As we say, the US Senate, it simply refers to their parliament. So obviously, D is out, C is out, D is out. Now it's only between A and E. So let's continue. If everybody always lies to you, the dash is not that you believe the lies, but rather that nobody believes anything any longer. This is because lies, by their very nature, have to be changed, and a lying government has dashed to rewrite its own history. क्योंकि हम कहते हैं ना that truth is permanent. झूठ तो आपको बदलता रहता है, बार बार आपको अलग अलग झूठ बोलने पड़ते हैं. तो वो ये कह रहे हैं that अगर हर इंसान झूठ बोलता है आपको, तो उसका नतीजा क्या है, उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या है? उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस ये नहीं है कि तुम झूठ पे यकीन नहीं करोगे. आपको कुछ पता नहीं है तो शायद आप यकीन कर भी लो. उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस ये होगा कि कोई भी ज्यादा देर तक कुछ बिलीव नहीं कर पाएगा, बिकॉज लाई इज वेरी टेम्पररी इन नेचर. एंड दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई लाइंग गवर्नमेंट्स दे हैव टू ऑफन, दे कॉन्स्टेंटली हैव टू रीराइट देयर ओन हिस्ट्री, क्योंकि झूठ बार बार बदलना पड़ता है. सच तो हमेशा सेम रहता है और इमॉर्टल रहता है. That is what they're trying to say. So from that perspective, A looks like a wonderful choice. Let's compare it with E. If everybody always lies to you, the joy is joy. Is there any joy about it? This is a bad thing that we're talking about. That there is no truth, there is no freedom of press. Media is constrained. And people, the government is lying to you. What is joy about it? That's impossible. Answer A. क्या ये doable नहीं था? आप मुझे बताइए. It was very doable. Very good, Farhan. Very good, Aditi. Oh, no, sorry. Aditi got it wrong. Yeah, A is the right answer. No, you also got it wrong. No worries. I hope now you understand what is the approach and आपको पिछले क्वेश्चन का एक्सप्लेनेशन समझ में आया कि नहीं. Exactly, unusually also does not fit. True. वहां तक जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी, जॉय पे हमने एलिमिनेट कर लिया. So anybody else who has a problem with the previous question, I don't mind explaining it again, but I believe you've understood this well. So I think let's move over to the next question. 2021 XAT का question. Very easy. Extremely easy question है. सबका सही आना चाहिए. जल्दी जल्दी आंसर्स भेजो. चलो, quick speed up. Yes, what's your answer? Grammar is not fitting. Where it's not fitting, beta? You're talking about the previous question? No. They align government has to rewrite its history. What's wrong? A government has to constantly lie. सही है. बिल्कुल बढ़िया टेंस है. टेंस भी बिल्कुल सही है बेटा. Right? And they have to constantly do this. And government being a singular countable मतलब एक collective noun की तरह act करेगा तो has is valid there. They have to do this matlab they are compelled to do this, right? They'll have to rewrite it because it's lies. Sixth, okay, so Shalom thinks it's B, Anas thinks it's C. Interesting. Let's discuss. While startups have dash reach, while है ना, while हम कब कब यूज करते हैं? While we mostly use when we are talking about parallel actions that are taking place, while we sometimes use to bring up a contrast also. You know that, right? So while I was studying, my roommate was playing loud music. So there's a contrast, right? Do you get that? While startups have dash reach, dash they introduce dash products, they open up dash markets. So we're talking about opening up markets. तो reach भले उनकी limited है. Sometimes when they launch these kind of products, they open up markets. So can you infer what kind of a blank do we need here? See, a pre-processing is required before you jump to the options. When students jump the gun, when students miss this processing part, they simply come to the options, they start plugging in the options without having any mental framework. That's wrong. You must know what you're looking for. If you have no clarity what you're looking for, then probably you will be misled and you will end up marking the wrong answer. Right? तो थोड़ा सा सोचना बनता है. तो यहाँ पे कुछ मेरे को limited type का ही चाहिए. तो limited, restricted, anything will work. Now the point is, dash they introduce. Since they introduce, yeah, when they introduce. Since would be like that it's telling you about because they introduce, since they introduce. But that's not always the case. Whenever they introduce, if will work, when will work, right? They introduce dash products, they open up dash markets. When they introduce new products, they open up innovative markets. Can markets be innovative? Markets cannot be innovative. Product would be innovative. And this is what is a typical thing or a very important characteristic of a startup. Startups normally come up with innovative products. So I think this makes more sense, right? When they introduce innovative products, they open up new markets. Looks good. While they introduce innovative products, they open up new markets. दो बार while का आना आपको क्या justified लग रहा है? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. If they introduce new products, no, markets cannot be innovative. Product will be innovative. Answer B, beta. Well done. Well done, secret boy. Yes, Anas, that's right. Yes, Shalom, you got it right. Farhan, you got it right. Bravo, all of you. Well done. Moving to the next one. XAT 2020. A doable question, I'm telling you. Definitely an easy one. You can try it, you can get it right. Yes, tell me. What's your answer? Okay, interesting. Somebody thinks it's A. Cool. I need more responses. Come on, people, speed up. इतना टाइम नहीं लगना है, थोड़ा फास्ट होना होगा हमें. ठीक है, चलो डिस्कस करें. Shall we? Okay. Dash medicine has been operated by trial and error. In other words, this now it's very, very logical that when you said trial and error, right? But then you say, in other words, this. So this blank must have a word which is a synonym of trial and error. And we all know trial and error is like tukkebazi kind of a thing, right? So in the first blank, formerly, no, formerly does not look like a perfect word here. Because why not perfect? Because has been operated. फॉर्मरली मतलब पहले, तो हम ये कह सकते थे कि पहले किया जाता था ऐसा. जैसे आज भी मुझे सॉरी टू से नो ऑफेंस बट होम्योपैथी आज भी मुझे ट्रायल एंड एरर ही लगती है. इसलिए आई ऑलवेज गो टू अ प्रॉपर मेडिकल प्रैक्टिशनर. फाइन, वेयर इज माय मदर यूजेस होम्योपैथी, सो आई फील कि इट्स मोर ऑफ अ ट्रायल एंड एरर. यहाँ पे फॉर्मरली से फिर वो हैज बीन नहीं होता, बिकॉज हैज बीन मतलब राइट फ्रॉम सम पास्ट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम से लेकर अब तक ये होता आ रहा है. पीरियोडिकली के साथ में अगेन हैज बीन ऑपरेटेड, हैज बीन उतना नहीं जमेगा. एंड मोर देन दैट, लॉजिकली आ ही नहीं सकता, बिकॉज ट्रायल एंड एरर इज नॉट अ लॉजिकल थिंग, इट्स नॉट एन एनालिटिकल थिंग. रैंडमली हो सकता, आर्बिट्ररीली हो सकता, स्टेटिस्टिकली इज स्टूपिड. स्टेटिस्टिकली हम यहाँ रैंडम ट्रायल एंड एरर की बात कर रहे हैं. ये दवा खा के देखो, तुम्हें फायदा हुआ क्या? अच्छा नहीं हुआ, तो दूसरी खा के देखो, तो तीसरी खा के देखो. इट गोज ऑन लाइक दिस. सो दिस इज अ वेरी वेग थिंग, इट्स एन आर्बिट्ररी थिंग. सो डेफिनेटली बी एंड सी आर आउट. रैंडमली हो सकता है, बट फॉर्मरली स्लाइटली प्रॉब्लमैटिक. हिस्टोरिकली बिल्कुल हो सकता है. बट एक बार देख लेते हैं आगे. We know by now that there can be entirely fortuitous connections between symptoms and treatment. And some medications succeed in medical trials for mere random reasons. What is fortuitous? Something that is by chance. कई बार ना धुपसट हो जाती है, तुक्का बैठ जाता है, right? That you know your medical trials are sometimes working only for random reasons. So that is what it's trying to say. Uh, BNC are already out. Accidental reasons, sorry, accidental connections. Accidental is a little too much extreme word for this, right? So I would say fortuitous is better. Casual फिर भी आ सकता था, but it's already eliminated. Unexpected but statistically वजह से अलग से हो चुका है वो eliminate. So the only reasonable choice left is option D. Is this clear? No problem, Shalom. You just keep participating. I understand that you have some internet issues, but stay with us. Keep participating. No problem. Right? Okay. Clear हुआ कि नहीं? देखो word choice and logic. We picked the clue trial and error. In other words, this. इस पे हमने सबसे ज्यादा खेला है. ठीक है ना? और कैसे मैंने थोड़ी सी ग्रामर का सेंस भी लगाया है. So that's also important, right? Next question, please. XAT 2020 का क्वेश्चन है ये भी. Can be slightly tricky. थोड़ा स्मार्ट वर्क करोगे तो समझ में आ जाएगा, सही आंसर तक पहुंच जाओगे. Yeah. What do you think is the answer? Come on, people. Okay, Farhan, you think it's C? Share your answers. Come on. Confused? Chalo, let's evaluate. Let's evaluate, no worries. A map is a useful metaphor for our brain when talking about dash, because at its most basic level, our brain dash to be our atlas of sorts, a kind of atlas, a system of routes dash to navigate us toward just one destination, staying alive. Okay. सो इन्होंने एक मेटाफर का इस्तेमाल किया, जैसे हमारा ब्रेन है उसको उन्होंने कंपेयर कर दिया मैप से, और वो कह रहे हैं कि मैप में ये हमारा जो उसका ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं, बिकॉज बेसिक लेवल पे हमारा ब्रेन एक एटलस की तरह ही है. ठीक है, इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ अ सिस्टम ऑफ रूट्स, और उन रूट्स के थ्रू हम अपने डेस्टिनेशन तक जा रहे हैं. एंड व्हाट इज आवर डेस्टिनेशन? स्टेइंग अलाइव. सो इन द फर्स्ट ब्लैंक व्हाट कैन कम? अंडरस्टैंडिंग, कॉम्प्रिहेंशन, कनेक्शन, परसेप्शन. डिजाइन छोड़ के कुछ भी आ सकता है. However, I like perception. Why? Because the purpose of brain is to perceive things. It's about how we, whatever we see, how do we interpret it, and we make a mental map out of it, a mental model out of it. Hence, थोड़ा सा मुझे ज्यादा अच्छा लगा, but comprehension भी हो सकता है. Connection, connections नहीं अच्छा हुआ, because when we, for our brain, because when talking about connections, what kind of connections? That looks like a very loose and fluid and vague term. We need something more precise. So even connections I did not like. But there is no reason to eliminate understanding and comprehension outrightly. So chalo theek hai, let's hold this. Our brain dashed to be our atlas of sorts, progressed, metamorphosed. I'm sorry, I have to eliminate this. What is metamorphosed? What is metamorphosed? Metamorphosis पता है आपको? Metamorphosis is a complete transformation of something. It's a staggering kind of a transformation, right? So वो caterpillar turning into a butterfly is a metamorphosis. Complete change and a sudden and one-time change matlab. Our brain did not go through sudden and massive transformation. Brains के लिए बहुत प्यारा वर्ड यूज होता है evolution. How we as humans we evolved. तो evolved looks good. Changed, developed are weak words, but they are still acceptable. But उतना मजा नहीं आ रहा. Progressed, vague. थोड़ा सा vague. ऐसा मुझे लगा. आगे देखते हैं. To navigate us. Okay. Our atlas of sorts, a system of routes dash to navigate us to our final destination, staying alive. Shaped, designed, molded nahi, shaped, okay, designed. Designed even looks better, right? So it's time to eliminate those choices that had a problem. While A is still close, but I would pick E because of the wonderful word evolved and design, which are just the precise words that you need. It's about the evolution and finally how it's like a system of routes designed to navigate, right? So this is your answer, and we move to the next question. XAT 2019 का question है. Let's do it. Very easy question यार. बहुत आसान है. Yes, shalomorph is change. उससे बना metamorphosis, उससे बना morphology, which is the study of shape, anthropomorphism, acquiring human-like form or shape or appearance, right? Vocabulary is fun, यार. Interest होना चाहिए बस. अभी क्या बच्चे ना एकदम उनको लगता है कि vocab मतलब कोई भूत है. It's some kind of a specter or ghost. जितना आप भागते हो उस चीज से वो आपके लिए बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज बन जाता है. पर जब आपके पास vocab अच्छी है ना, you're truly empowered. Trust me, because this aids you in multitudinous ways, right? You have no idea how empowering vocabulary is. Done with this? Chalo, let's discuss. Dash the importance of horizontal stratification. Dash higher education is widely acknowledged. Dash attention has been applied to horizontal stratification, dash compulsory schooling. Now we're talking about horizontal stratification in two different domains. One in higher education, the other in compulsory schooling or the elementary kind of schooling, right? तो बताइए आप मुझे. What should be the answer? Firstly, we can clearly see that we are contrasting. So while and whereas both can come. So this does not help us much. This whereas is also used to highlight contrast, right? The importance of horizontal stratification with schooling, with higher education, or within higher education. On higher education? No. I think stratification in higher education or within higher education is the kind of preposition that we need. Without higher education, I don't think so. Is widely acknowledged. हायर एजुकेशन में हॉरिजॉन्टल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन आपने काफी एक्नॉलेज कर दिया है. अब कुछ कंट्रास्टिंग आए, फार लेस अटेंशन, बहुत कम अटेंशन दिया जा रहा है टू हॉरिजॉन्टल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन विद इन कंपल्सरी स्कूल. एक बात तो क्लियर है, वॉट एवर preposition you are using here, the same you should be using here also, right? Because it's similar thing. So within is fine. एक जगह you're using with, the other you're using to. Here you're using without. Your within does not make sense. Without, within, right? About, on. About and on are not the right choices anyway. About, off. No. Clearly your answer has to be option B. It is so easy. Wasn't this purely grammar sense? Okay. Yes, that's right, Shalom and Anas. You've got the right answer. Two active participants of this session. And now you look at this, we have this variation, XAT 2019. So sometimes they surprise you. And these examinations, you can't really be sure about their pattern. There will be shockers, there will be some surprises here and there. So look at this question. Uh, this is like a regular fill up. Don't get scared. It's just that they have given you 8 words. And you simply have to choose a combination of these words. Let's try this one. This is a very interesting one. A very different format of question. हाँ जी, कुछ भी इसमें अलग नहीं है. The same thing, just the format of the question has slightly changed. Don't get baffled. Yeah. Can we discuss? Okay. Now here, if you don't understand what is attune, if you don't know what is a quandary, if you don't know what is to reconcile, then obviously you will never get your answers right. Because it's at the end of the day, a game of vocabulary. It's much more than vocabulary. It requires logic, it requires a complete semantic sense, a knowledge of sentence structures, an understanding of grammar, and a very strong logical thinking mind. However, a prerequisite is vocabulary, right? Words तो पता होने चाहिए ना. Chalo. So Shalom thinks it's E, Swaroop thinks it's E, Farhan thinks it's A, Anas thinks it's B. Interesting. In 1942, the French writer Albert Camus composed an essay, The Myth of Sisyphus. It draws on the Greek fable. ओके, तो जो ग्रीक फेबल है बहुत पुरानी, उससे ही ये निकल के आया है, उसी से इंस्पायर्ड है, ऑफ अ मैन कंडेम्ड टू रोल अ रॉक अप अ माउंटेन ओनली टू हैव इट रोल बैक अंडर इट्स ओन वेट। यानी कि वो धीरे धीरे इतनी मेहनत से जैसे ही माउंटेन पे एक रॉक चढ़ाएगा, जैसे ही पहुंचने वाली होगी वो फिर रोल डाउन कर जाएगी, एंड ही विल कीप ऑन डूइंग इट इंडेफिनिटली। इसी से एक बहुत अच्छा वर्ड बना है विच इज सिसिफियन। सो किसी भी टास्क को, दिस इज अ प्रॉपर वोकैब्युलरी, राइट, दिस इज अ नाइस टर्म। किसी भी टास्क को अगर हम सिसिफियन कहते हैं तो इट्स अ वेरी हर्क्यूलियन टास्क, जो बहुत एफर्ट लेती है और मतलब एक तरह से अनएंडिंग काइंड ऑफ अ वर्क है। दैट इज अ सिसिफियन टास्क, जिसमें आपको कुछ, आपकी ग्रोथ नहीं होती, जिसमें आपको कुछ मजा नहीं आता, बट इट्स आर्डुअस, इट्स लेबोरियस, राइट। आई होप यू विल कीप दिस इन माइंड। सो ये कहता है कि अल्टीमेटली इट्स ऑन वेट अ डैश दैट लास्ट्स फॉर इटर्निटी। तो ये कुछ नेगेटिव टाइप का ही वर्ड आना चाहिए हियर इन द फर्स्ट ब्लैंक, राइट। Camus argues that this image dashed the human condition in a world where we can no longer make sense of events, but instead of committing suicide, we should dash ourselves to this elusive feeling of absurdity and bear it at best we can. In this sense, Sisyphus is the ideal hero. He's the ideal hero because he's not succumbing to pressure and he's trying relentlessly. एंड दैट्स व्हाट ही सेज। सो उन्होंने इस मिथ को एक सिंबल की तरह यूज किया है। तो आई थिंक ये सिंबलाइजेस जो है ना सेकंड ब्लैंक में बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से बैठेगा। दिस सिंबलाइजेस। सो मैं सेकंड ब्लैंक में देख लूं, जहां जहां 3 है ना, आई विल कीप दिस। यहां पे इन्होंने बाकी ऑप्शन भी देख लो, कहीं कुछ और तो नहीं फिट हो रहा। फिफ्थ, attune. Attune does not fit in here. Attune, when you're attuned to something, you're receptive to it, you're aware of it, or you are accustomed to it. Students are not attuned to reading tomes. They're not attuned to learning or cramming up heavy words. Attuned, right? Attuned does not make sense here. B and C are also out of the game. 2, choice. Is choice relevant? No. So now you just have to pick between B and E. In the first blank, it says 2, choice. In the first blank. A choice that lasts for eternity. Is it a choice? No, it's not his choice. E, 4. A quandary. Yes, quandary. What does quandary mean? Quandary is kind of a predicament. It's kind of a very difficult situation, right? So a quandary makes sense here, and in the seventh, in the last blank. But instead of committing suicide, we should, what is 7? We should reconcile ourselves to this feeling of absurdity and bear it. What is to reconcile? Yes, your answer is E. And I'm so glad so many of you answered it correctly. What is reconcile? Reconcile karna? Okay. एक तो चीज होती है simply that harmony लेके आना दो लोगों के बीच. I think she's been living separately for a year now, but she's about to reconcile with her husband. So reconcile करना, दोबारा से अपना रिश्ता सही कर लेना. बट एक और मतलब होता है रिकनसाइल का, दो चीजों को कंपैटिबल बनाना, इन द सेंस कि हियर यू विल हैव टू वी विल हैव टू रिकनसाइल आवरसेल्व्स टू दिस फीलिंग ऑफ एब्सर्डिटी. ये वैसे तो ऑड चीजें हैं, बट हम उनको एक मिडवे लेके आके इस तरह से हमें करना पड़ेगा. इज दिस मच क्लियर? आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड. एक्चुअली दो अपोजिंग बिलीव्स कैसे अग्री कर सकते हो, कैसे एग्जिस्ट कर सकते हैं. तो while this is so traumatic, this is a quandary, but these are opposite things, how can they exist together? आपको उस चीज को रिकनसाइल करना पड़ेगा, उस चीज को झेलना पड़ेगा कि लाइफ ऐसी ही होती है, राइट? सो आंसर वुड बी ई. सच अ वंडरफुल क्वेश्चन है ना? This is an easy one. This again appeared in 2019. A very nice question, an easy question. अब यहाँ पे देखो, this time it's not a fill in the blank question. It's more like that you have to guess the contextual meaning of the highlighted word in the sentence. So I think this is fairly doable. Let's do this one. हाँ जी, very easy. Read the direction carefully. You've been asked to find the antonym. Sometimes in a haste we don't read the directions carefully. हम उल्टा मार्क करके आ जाते हैं. ऐसी mistakes नहीं होना चाहिए. This is unpardonable. Okay. So I don't think it must take much time. Very good, Swaroop. That's the right answer. Very nice. It's conventional wisdom that procreation between first cousins is unhealthy. But what are the actual genetic risks? So I hope you understand, right? What do they mean by procreation? Fine. So it's ultimately about, that two, like first cousins, getting into a marital relationship and procreating, producing offspring, right? So that is unhealthy because there are some genetic risks involved. But then they say it's conventional wisdom. And conventional is the word that's highlighted, and you have to find its antonym. So conventional means traditional or something that is known to us through our traditions, that right from the beginning is known to us. That way, this is what they mean by conventional wisdom. So if you had to choose an antonym, what would that be? Unfounded. कन्वेंशनल है, ट्रेडिशनल है, तो हम सबको पहले से बहुत टाइम से पता है. बट इफ इट्स अनफाउंडेड तो हमने आज तक उसको डिस्कवर ही नहीं किया. We haven't been able to found anything like that. So this is going to be the opposite. So simple. Yes, Shalom, that's right. Okay. Tangible is something that can be touched or seen, right? Relative does not make sense. You're abstract, something which is totally vague and slightly imaginary and arbitrary in nature. That does not fit in. So I think this was a very easy one. ZAT 2019, another nice question, doable one. Let's hit it. Let's do another one, I guess. Yeah, let's do this one. Because थोड़ा सा nature इसका अलग है. ये भी different type of question. And this is more on the lines of sentence completion, right? It's not just about one word. You have to complete the sentence and there are phrases given. Yeah, this is very easy. Common sense. You just need to use your common sense and you're there already. Okay. An American female politician might not be expected to exhibit the features of public discourse discussed in the passage while dash. So it's like essentially you'd understand that when we're talking about public discourse, it's public discussion. And we're talking about an American female politician. It's a politician, and the politician, uh, would do discourse, public discourse, okay, when she's addressing her colleagues, तो करना चाहिए. हमसे बोल रहे हैं not be expected, तो not be expected chatting with intimate colleagues looks fine because these are our close friends. Fine, intimate. Speaking to members of a congregation, no, because this is a congregation, this is a gathering. Giving testimony, even when you are giving testimony, you'll have to be proper in terms of, a lecturing or a discussion because a testimony is a formal thing. Conversing with members of a community. Now, even when you are addressing the members of your community, even then, because you are a politician at the end of the day, so you will have to follow public discourse, right? It's only when you're chatting, you are not donning the hat of a politician, and these are your close friends. So this will be your answer. Is this much clear? Congregation क्या होता है? Gathering होती है. A gathering of people. XAT 2019. कुछ ऐसे क्वेश्चन आपको मिल रहे हैं कि आपको उसका बैकग्राउंड नहीं पता. You don't know the context, and when you don't know the context, swallowing or absorbing and assimilating things become difficult. हाँ जी, answer. When the writer observes, this is not arrogance, of course. They can absorb in a few moments and without any effort the sum of the artist and the art. He's being dashed. Because on one end, you say that, this is not arrogance. But then the other moment, you say that art plus artist सब कुछ moments में ही absorb कर सकते हैं. तो एक तरह से you are slightly being ओके दिस माइट अपीयर हाइपरबोलिक बट ये यहाँ पे उस लेवल का एग्जैजरेशन नहीं है. एक तरह से देखें तो ये थोड़ा सा आयरोनिकल है बिकॉज जो वो बोल रहे हैं वैसा वो कर नहीं रहे. बट सिंस दिस इज लाइक डोंट बॉदर नॉट बीइंग एरोगेंट बट दिस हैज एन एलिमेंट ऑफ एरोगेंस. ओके दो वो कह रहे हैं नॉट बीइंग एरोगेंट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपसे मैं बोलूं आप किसी क्वेश्चन को करने में 5 मिनट लगा रहे हो. मैं कह रही हूँ this is not arrogance but I can do this question in 30 seconds. So this has that element of sarcasm actually. Yes, Farhan, it is sarcastic. Because the person is speaking with such slight arrogance and in a slightly taunting style that ये तो मेरे लिए ऐसा है, right? So this is the best choice. ZAT 2018. Easy question, doable question. Let's do this. Options can appear close, but trust me, a grammar sense is going to help you here. Shalom, the answer that you have shared is for this particular question, question 15. Is that so? अब ये देखो ना, बहुत ही प्यारा क्वेश्चन है, बहुत ही प्यारा. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड. द पे ऑफ, व्हाट यू फाइनली गेट, पे ऑफ है ना, द रिजल्ट दैट यू गेट from dash in education is so dash and dash that it is almost dash as a predictor of economic change over a 5 to 10 year period. आप एक साथ 20 लाख 25 लाख आराम से अपनी एजुकेशन में लगा रहे हो, लेकिन जो पे ऑफ आपको मिलता है, फाइन, वो इतना कम मिलता है कि वो 5 से 10 साल में इट कैन नॉट चेंज योर इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस दैट क्विकली, राइट? सो अब यहाँ पे देखते हैं एक्सपेंडिचर इन एजुकेशन. सो एक्सपेंडिचर के साथ में इन नहीं जाता, एक्सपेंडिचर के साथ में वी यूज ऑन एज अ preposition. This is the expenditure on education. This is the expenditure on food, on accommodation. Whereas investment productivity is out of question. Investment in education is so slow and erratic. What is erratic? Unpredictable. Is so slow and predictable that it is almost irrelevant as a predictor of economic change. Should it be unpredictable or should it be predictable? If it is unpredictable, it can give you high returns also. But they're saying we know, we can predict, we can foresee that it's not going to give you any major leap in your financial status. You'll not get enough revenue. We know it's predictable. You'll just do a like 5%, 10% growth. So answer has to be E. So we have eliminated A and C. अगर आप A देखते हो और A को eliminate नहीं कर पाते expenditure की वजह से, it's the grammar sense that helped you this time. Otherwise, बाकी सारे ऑप्शन बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से फिट हो रहे थे. It had the potential to confuse you. But thank God, thankfully, we knew that expenditure should take the preposition on, not in. This is how, see, that's why I say it's always a game of your linguistic abilities, your verbal ability. It's not about vocabulary only. Okay, it's about your overall language proficiency, I must say. 2018, question 16. Hanji, what do you think? Very easy. It is very easy. It's just that, do you know the difference between these three words? Yes, very basics. ये बेसिक्स हैं आपके, बचपन में पढ़ा था आपने. आई एम श्योर. Done? Your answers, please. Waiting for your response. Chalo, let's have a look. The Lannisters had dash gold than the Tyrells until the Lannister army sacked High Garden and took the Tyrell fortune to pay back the Iron Bank. On the other hand, the Northern army has dash than 10,000 men, and therefore John needs to bend the knee to diners. So it's about lesson few. I hope we know that whenever we are talking about countables, countable nouns versus uncountable noun. For countable, we say few. when we are referring to कम, कोई कम quantity है. But with uncountable, we say little. When you're trying to say more, we say many. And here we say much. But here it's a comparative form that we need because we're comparing between these two, Lannisters and Tyrells, right? Names हैं इनमें confuse होने की बात नहीं. तो few का form comparative form fewer will come और little का comparative form less will come. So now since we are talking about gold, gold is uncountable, so we must use less. And talking about men, so fewer must come. चलो ये तो है. अब A और C ही बचे हैं, right? Now do we know the difference between, I hope this much is clear, right? Now do we understand the difference between sometime, sometime versus sometimes? So when we say sometimes, this means kabhi kabhi. I don't know why, but sometimes I feel like going on a wonderful vacation. I would go to some natural landscapes, okay, and enjoy my day in nature. Sometimes, कभी कभी मुझे ऐसा लगता है, right? Sometime, see you sometime, किसी दिन, sometime, okay? Maybe I'll make a lot of money sometime. Some point in future, sometime. Give it a possibility. Sometime. ये तो independent words हैं. Give me some time. Some time. You need to dedicate some time every day to reading. Do you get the difference? अब बताओ क्या होना चाहिए आंसर? For Dash, he has not written anything further. कुछ वक्त. And we hope George Martin will get around to finishing the book sometime in the future. But as it happens, sometimes, kabhi kabhi, books are delayed. Do you understand? कुछ वक्त for some time, he has not written anything. But हमें उम्मीद है कि he will do it sometime at a future point in time. ये लगेगा और sometimes तो easy है. A is the answer. कितना प्यारा question है. This teaches you a number of things. This checks not just your vocabulary but also your command over grammar. Yes or no? So I hope you got this one. Just last one or two questions and then we'll be wrapping it up, class. Now this is really heavy, very heavy words. अब तक के सबसे मुश्किल वर्ड इसी में है बस. हाँ जी. Are we done? Chaliye, what do you think? Without knowing these words, definitely answering this would be a problem. Kya baat hai? But some of you have given me the right answer, and this is so great. Good to see. Well done, class. Now, let's first of all understand these words, right? What is nonchalant? Nonchalant is being a little apathetic when you have a lack of concern, right? When you don't really care much about something, you have apathy, you have lack of concern. That is nonchalant. Insocial also means the same. So in the first blank, either of the two could fit in, right? Now, what is remonstration? Remonstration actually means a kind of a protest. थोड़ा सा आप चिढ़ के फ्रस्ट्रेशन में आके अग्रेसिव होके जब कोई चीज की प्रोटेस्ट करते हो दैट इज रेमोन्स्ट्रेशन व्हाट इज फिलिपिक सॉरी व्हाट इज फिलिपिक philippic is when you're denounced, when someone shouts at you, okay? So they kind of berate you or they kind of scold you, okay? That's a philippic. Ennui. Ennui is a common word. I expect you to know ennui and nonchalant. Ennui is dissatisfaction और boredom. दोनों मतलब है. So though he thought of himself as a dash. Now when you say though, it's a contrast. His boss's abusive behavior made him talk back. So otherwise he had known himself to be a little nonchalant or insouciant, not much involved in anything, having a lack of concern, right? He always thought that. But the abusive behavior of the boss made him talk back. So he started talking back and arguing with the boss. However, as he engaged in a remonstration because he started protesting and demanding things with his boss, all he got in response was a philippic, डांट मिल गई और a tirade, a very long, angry scolding, which only filled him with dissatisfaction. Ennui. Answer is option A. Is this clear? Anis, do you now understand what is demonstration? Right? So we have all these words here. I hope this much is clear. Now we're done with the PYQs, I believe. And now let's make a leap. And this is a nice question. Let's try this one. Just one more question apart from this, and then we will wrap up the session, class. Be with me for a few more minutes. Chalo, are we done? Let's discuss this. What do you think should be the answer? In an era of globalization, cultural diversity is celebrated and valued across societies. ठीक है भाई. However, the rise of xenophobia and intolerance poses a dash challenge to social cohesion and harmony. So we're talking about that as such, as we are living in a globalized world, diversity is welcome. Cultural diversity is celebrated across different societies. But then there's xenophobia that's on the rise. What is xenophobia? Fear of strangers, fear of foreigners, particularly. Right? Okay, let's have a look. What's the answer? Right? So xenophobia बढ़ रहा है intolerance की वजह से dash challenge हो रहा है to social cohesion or social unity as we say. So a dash challenge, complicated, multifaceted, pressing challenge, sophisticated नहीं हो सकता challenge. पूरा option I have eliminated. Multifaceted challenge with different sides to it. So we don't really know if ऐसा कुछ multifaceted वाला कोई sense आ रहा है कि नहीं, but pressing challenge fits in well. And pressing challenge is a collocation also. Building inclusive communities and promoting intercultural dialogue are essential for dash mutual understanding and respect among diverse populations, are essential for advancing, stimulating, nurturing. ठीक है भाई, सभी ठीक बैठ रहे हैं, बट यहाँ पे वी डोंट रियली नो, मल्टीफेसिटेड पे डाउट है मुझे बहुत ज्यादा. ठीक है, दैट मीन्स यू विल हैव टू मेक इंक्लूसिव कम्युनिटीज, नोबडी इज मार्जिनलाइज, सबको साथ लेके चलो, ये जरूरी है डाइवर्स पॉपुलेशन को हैंडल करने के लिए, राइट, और इनमें अंडरस्टैंडिंग को बढ़ाने के लिए. नाउ टेक्निकली अगर देखें तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग को एडवांस किया जाता है, हो सकता है अंडरस्टैंडिंग को फॉस्टर कर सकते हो, नर्चर कर सकते हो. स्टिम्युलेट करना क्या होता है? स्टिम्युलेट करना कोई प्रोसेस को एक्टिवेट करने को कहते हैं. तो ठीक है, मोर और लेस आ सकता है, बट बहुत बढ़िया मैचेस नहीं है. Additionally, educating individuals about the benefits of cultural diversity and challenging dash are crucial steps toward creating inclusive societies and encouraging peaceful coexistence. So क्या बोल रहे हैं कि इंडिविजुअल्स को एजुकेट करना है अबाउट बेनिफिट्स ऑफ कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी एंड चैलेंजिंग डैश. Challenging what? Truisms? No. Challenging archetypes? Okay. Challenging stereotypes? Yes. Proposition is already out. Stereotype बहुत जरूरी है. I think this fits in really well. Stereotyping बहुत होती है हमारे यहाँ. यहाँ पे रहने वाले लोग ऐसे होते हैं, नीग्रोज ऐसे होते हैं, अंग्रेज ऐसे होते हैं, चाइनीज ऐसे होते हैं, साउथ इंडियन ऐसे होते हैं, नॉर्थ इंडियन ऐसे होते हैं. ये क्या है? स्टीरियोटाइपिंग. So because we want to build a diverse society, so we have to challenge stereotypes. Is this much clear? And coming over to this archetypes standard, best model of something होता है. ये सही वर्ड नहीं. Stereotype is what we need. Is this much clear? And finally, we move towards the last question of the day. Again, choices are very close. Class, this is the last question. यार देखो, Shalom, ultimately, there are some examinations, many colleges that want a sectional cutoff. So you must not just think of an overall score, but you will have to try enough so that you get through the cutoffs. But it's ultimately that you have the time with you, and now आपको डिसाइड करना है मुझे कितने क्वेश्चन बन रहे हैं किस चीज में. तो इंग्लिश है 26 क्वेश्चंस में से, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अच्छे बच्चे जो होते हैं कर लेते हैं आराम से, इजीली कर लेते हैं. देखो, 2 क्वेश्चन फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स के, 2 क्वेश्चन ग्रामर के, तो चुटकियों में हो जाते हैं. दिस डज नॉट टेक मच टाइम. एंड देन रिमेनिंग those short passage based, short para based questions and full fledged passages. The students are comfortably able to do like 18 questions, 18 to 20 questions कर लेते हैं बच्चे easy. And I think that would be a good one. Even with like 80% accuracy, that will be a good score. Okay, Shalom? The last question of the day, class. Come on, let's do this. So now let's discuss this one. Still waiting for your answer. You've not shared your answer. Yes, choices are close. That's the game. Semantically, what fits in as the best choice? देखो लॉजिक तो तुमको देखना ही है. You can check the YouTube channel. The entire, schedule would be there. Okay, coming to this. In today's fast-paced world, individuals are inundated, flooded with information, necessitating the cultivation of critical thinking skills in order to navigate the influx of data dash. So, and when there's knowledge explosion, you have so much of information coming in from everywhere. You're flooded with information, inundated with information. And that is where you need to cultivate critical thinking skills so that you can navigate this influx of data. What? Judiciously, discerningly, discreetly, thoughtfully. Okay. Now, discreetly often means either cautiously, which can fit in, but it also means secretly, which will not fit in. Just letting you know. Thoughtfully is a weak word, thoughtfully. As compared to that, I would like judiciously and discerningly more. वो ज्यादा better रहेंगे. Anyway, आगे देखते हैं. Additionally, the prevalence of fake news and misinformation presents a dash challenge. Dash challenge. हर जगह बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा चैलेंज ये है कि you're exposed to so much of misinformation, right? तो pervasive challenge looks good. Systematic challenge systematic नहीं हो सकता भाई. आपका रास्ता सिस्टमैटिक हो सकता है, आपका मेथड सिस्टमैटिक हो सकता है, चैलेंज सिस्टमैटिक नहीं होता कभी, राइट? ग्लोबल ग्लोबल चैलेंज, ओके. Holistic is very complete challenge. Chalo. Undermining people's trust in media and institution. Promoting media literacy and cultivating a culture of skepticism are vital for dash informed citizenship and democratic values. तो अगर आप थोड़ा सा स्केप्टिसिज्म वगैरह कर लो कि भाई डोंट बिलीव देम व्हाट दे से एंड मीडिया लिटरेसी प्रमोट करो, इससे क्या होगा? This is very vital or important for dash informed citizenship and democratic values. Fostering is so beautiful. Serving, no. You cannot serve. You foster, you nurture, you encourage, you enhance. Furthering, furthering is just passing on. या किसी चीज को आगे ले जाना, फर्दर करना, वो सही नहीं होगा, fostering सही होगा. So B beta will be the best choice. I hope this much is clear. And class, that's all for today. I hope you got a little comfortable with the vocabulary based questions of that with fill in the blanks. I think with this exposure that you much needed, these were all PYQs essentially handpicked for you, right? We did not leave any PYQ of this nature. So now I think you have some clarity. You know how to eliminate choices. You understand it's not always about vocabulary, it's also about grammar, it's about having a complete sense of the language, a feel of the language, right? And I think you can practice more, take mocks, right? And please, please put your best foot forward. Keep following our channel. If you like the session, you can drop in some comments, right? And that's all for today. Fine. All the very best. Thank you so much. छा जाओ अपने एग्जाम में. Bye. Take care.